I welcome you all to the next lecture of Osha online training. Today we will discuss hand and power tools and safety related with it, some of the hazards involved in hand and power tool usage, and we will also see some of the precautions relating to it and some of the safety steps and measures we have to take. But first, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, then please subscribe it, like it, and share it with your friends so that people can get the knowledge and learn something. So our today topic is basically hand and power tools and what is its safety, how to use them, and what are some of the hazards involved in it, and what are some of the precautions which we can take in order to use it in a better way, which ultimately will result in having no injury and a safe use. So our today lecture outline is basically hand and power tools. What are hand and power tools? Next, we will see some of the hazards or risks involved in hand and power tools usage. Then we will see safety rules for tools. There are some specific rules regarding the usage of different kind of electrical and hand tools. We will see this also. Then we will jump to hand tools other hazards. There are some other hazards involved in usage of hand tools. In the last, we will see how we can use hand tools and power tools in a protective way or in a safe way. So this is our lecture outline. So let's jump to our first point. Hand and power tools. Hand and power tools are used in every kind of industry, either electrical, construction, or different kind of industries. So you can see on the screen different kind of devices which can be used in electrical industry or construction industry or other different kind of industries. So there are some safe usage regarding those tools and a worker should know about them. This is not the task of a safety officer to know how to use, but at least a safety officer have to tell the worker how to use a tool in a safe way, and a safety officer or line manager should know about the hazard involved in such tools. Although he should not go into the detail of these devices because the worker who do such work knows better how to use them, but a safety officer should have to tell them how to use them or operate them in a safe way and tell the workers about the hazards which are linked with these devices. Now, hazards associated with hand and power tools. There are some hazards and risks associated with hand and power tools. The first one is that if you are using hand power tools, it may fall, it may fly, or it's also abrasive. There are different kind of devices, electrical devices. For example, if you want to make a hole in a wall in an industry, so in that case, the device you use is really heavy and it is an electrical device. It may fall, which in turn can injure you. It may also fly because it is having a high power movement, so it may fly from your hands. It's also abrasive. Abrasive means sharp, like the edges or the head of the devices may be sharp, so in that case it may injure your hands, your feet, or your other body parts. So this is really man hazards involved with different kind of devices, either hand or power tools. Harmful dusts, mists, fumes, gases, and vapors may be involved while using certain kind of devices in construction or electrical industries. You may be aware of what is dust, fume, gases, and vapors. Mist is basically cloudy droplets of water which can make your vision unclear and you will not work properly and can in turn make you in hazard, and it can in turn get you in a hazardous situation. So while using certain kind of electrical or hand tool devices, fumes may be generated, gases or vapors or harmful dust may be generated. If you work in a construction industry, there must be a dust because you are working with different kind of devices and working with different kind of materials. So in that case, it may produce harmful dust. Electrical cords which are damaged, improper grounding, and hazardous situation. What is electrical cords? Electrical wires. Electrical wires which may be damaged. For example, it may be cut, it may not, it may be old, so in that case it's really dangerous and can get electrified you and can killed you or injured you. So it's really important to see them. Improper grounding. Always remember that while using electrical devices in safety regulation, there is a concept of grounding of electrical devices. It is done because of the reason that if a worker get electrical shock, so the electricity will go to the ground and a worker will not get injured too much. This is a proper concept, grounding of electrical devices. We will see later in other chapters, but you have to just keep in the mind that what is grounding of electrical devices. And hazardous connections, there may be connection of electricity which is not safe. For example, it may not have safety switches. For example, if there is some problem from the main supply of electricity, then it can endanger the worker. So it's really important to check for the hazardous connection and remove it. So these are some of the hazards involved with hand and power tools, both of them. Like, these hazards can occur in hand tools as well and in power tools as well. Now, what are some of the safety rules for different kind of tools? Either it is hand tool or power tools or electrical tools. Regularly maintain tools. What does it mean? Like, for example, if you are using a tool, you have to check it and properly see it if it's fine, it's in okay position, it's not having any problem, it's not all damaged. So you have to check all the thing and maintain it properly. So before using, this check is very important. And who will do this? Like, there are different kind of workers in an industry, but a safety officer must have to show that the device or tool is maintained in a proper and a good position. A right tool must be utilized for a specific task. While there are situations in which workers use different device for some task by which they can accomplish the task, but in safety rules that's not okay. In safety, you have to use the right tool for the task. There are specific devices or tools for a specific task. So, being as a safety officer, you should not go in this depth. A worker knows which device to use at which time, but you have to make sure that he is doing things in a right way. Before using, do inspection. Well, when the work initiated, a safety officer must have to do inspection that the tools are in a good position and they are working correctly. He will not have to do this alone. He have to take the specific worker relating to a specific work and will check that machinery or that tool or device. If there is a crane or there is, for example, a wrench, then a mechanical engineer will check the devices, either it is crane or wrench or whatever hand tool it is, or what. So safety officer will check him and do inspection with the help of that mechanical engineer. Use tool according to the manufacturer's instruction given with it. When a new device came into the industry, there is a proper instruction written with it, and you must have to look for those instructions. There is a proper detail about how to use a specific device, what is the proper and safe way. So make sure to check it and then utilize the device. It is indeed in every kind of device or product you are using. For example, in our daily life, if you use a soap, then proper instruction is written on outside packing that how to use it and what is the way and what are some of the precautions. Using the right PPEs. Remember that, for example, if you are working with hands and your hands are involved in a specific task a lot, then in that case you have to use gloves. So using right PPEs is an important thing. Use guards. What is guard? Guards are basically some of the devices which are made in industry, and they are basically used to protect the worker from different kind of machines or tools. For example, on the right side you may see that there is a man who is using a machine, and in that case he may basically injured his hand. So in that case, what an industry do, they basically build guards around it, so in order to protect the worker. We will see the concept of guards or guardrails or this kind of things in the next chapter, but you have to just keep in mind that guards are surrounded around different kind of tools and devices or machinery, so to protect the worker. For example, if there is a machinery where a worker is doing work, in that case a machine can hit him or machine, so there is a safeguard system around the machine to protect the worker from the machine. Now there are some other hazards involved with hand tools. For example, there may be wrenches when their jaws are sprung. You may have seen a wrench in your daily life. So it may be the case that its jaws or its head may be sprung. Sprung means spring, or it may move suddenly, like it may be loose. So it's not safe. Like if he's working and the jaw or the head suddenly move in and out, so it's not good for the worker. It may basically injure the worker hand. Next is chisels when their heads have mushroomed. You can see the second picture, a man holding a chisel with in his hand, and you can see that the head is basically mushroomed, or mushroomed basically means that it has developed a mushroom type or a fungus, or it is old or damaged. So it's not okay, because if you use them for some purpose, it's not in a fine or good position, so he may not do the work properly. There may be tools which have loose or cracked handle. You can see the first picture which have the handle made from wood and it is cracked. You can see the cracked in the handle. You can see the cracked in the handle. So it's not good, because a worker may injured himself. It may be having a loose handle. If the handle is loose, so the worker may in turn injure himself. Tools which is having tapped handle, because it may be hiding the cracks. There are some tools which is tap, like for example, it is a tap is surrounded from it to hide the crack, that may in turn injure the worker. Also, these are some of the hazards which are involved in hand tools. In overall summary, a hand tool should not be cracked, loose, or mushroomed, because it may be dangerous while working. Now, let's come to how we can opt for some precautions or protective way in case of hand tools. So while using hand tools, what you have to do, use PPEs such as gloves and goggles. For example, you can see in the picture the man is working, doing some welding work, so he have used he have basically used safety glasses and face shield. So this is really important, because if he do not use it, he may in turn damage his eyes. There are some work in which a worker must have to use gloves and goggles. So in this picture, the person has used goggles in order to protect his face and eyes. While working with hand tools, you have to make sure that the surface where you are working should not be slippery, because you may slip down and you may injure yourself. If you have tools which are for the cutting purpose, make sure that they are sharp. Why? Because if you are cutting something with the tool, then it must be sharp in order to cut it well. If it's not sharp, it takes a lot of time and it may be dangerous for the worker. It may be dangerous because he may apply some more pressure, or he may which may not be good for his arms and shoulders. Must be fitted with guards and safety switches. The hand tools must be fitted with guards. If you are using guards around hand tools, then remember that it may fit it. Now you have to just keep in mind the guards concept up to the extent I have told you, and we will basically discuss it in depth in the next chapter. And I will tell you about safety switches. So if a worker is working with electrical equipments and he is opting for electrical works, in that case there are safety switches usage. Why we use safety switches? For example, if there is an electrical current, or there is an electrical shock, or some dangerous situation occurred in case of electrical work, so in that case safety switches are used in order to stop the supply of electricity to the specific device. So if there is the usage of safety switches, then in case of danger, the electrical supply will be stopped and the worker will not get injured. Now lastly, we will discuss what are some of the protection in case of power tools. So the first one is basically, when servicing or cleaning tools, make sure to disconnect them. If you are using an electrical equipment and you want to service it or clean it, make sure that you have off the supply of electrical current. If you haven't, then and you are cleaning it with water or something else, it may electrify you and it may kill you or injure you. So make sure that it is disconnect. Don't hold the switch button when you carry a plug-in tool. For example, you have an electrical device which have a button through which it can be on and off. So when you are carrying a plug-in tool and going from one place to another, a plug-in tool means that it is having an electrical supply and the electrical supply is basically on. So in that case, don't on the switch when you are basically moving from one place to another. Make it off, then when you are working, on it and use it. Always keep them clean and sharp. Keep the electrical devices clean and also sharp, so that it can work properly and in a better way. Avoid loose cloths and jewelry which may get caught in the moving parts of machine. There are certain kinds of machine we will discuss in the guard concept, which basically moves around an area, which basically moves. So always try to avoid wearing loose clothes because it may get caught in the machine and it can basically injure you. Don't use jewelry or other kind of stuffs which may be stuck in the machine. If the machine is moving, try to use fit clothing. So these are some of the precautions in case of power tools. I hope guys that you like it. If you like it, please subscribe it, please share with your friends, please do valuable comments, and this is because it encourages me and motivate me. We will discuss some other advanced concepts in other chapters, but if you want to go for higher courses like IOSH, NEBOSH, and some other advanced safety courses, then this OSHA basic course is really important. This is a basic concept. If you make clear your concept this right now, then you will have no problem learning iOS and NEBOSH. Hope guys that it helps you a lot. I will see you in next lecture. Take care and bye.